We've all got these signals firing off inside our heads, right? You get a quiet nudge, or maybe a nagging worry, or that knot in your stomach. But which one do you trust? Is it a brilliant insight, a burst of anxiety, or some kind of primal warning? Let's untangle these voices and figure out which one is actually telling you the truth.
I mean, have you ever had a feeling that's just so strong you can't ignore it, but you have no idea if it's helping you or just messing with you? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a really simple framework to finally tell the difference between your intuition, that anxious noise, and a straight-up gut feeling.
Okay, so the first step to getting some clarity here is to properly meet our three inner voices. Now, in the heat of the moment, they can feel almost identical, but believe me, they come from completely different worlds. To tell them apart, we first have to really understand what makes each one of them tick. So let's start with intuition. Think of this one as a quiet, gentle knowing. It doesn't scream for your attention or demand that you do something right now. It's subtle, it's calm, and it kind of just shows up without any force behind it. It's like a little bubble of clarity rising to the surface. It's a whisper, not a shout. And then we have the total opposite, the anxious thought. We're calling it OCD-like, just to describe its signature pattern. This isn't a diagnosis, it's just a description. This voice is loud, it's urgent, and man, it gets stuck in a loop. It's all powered by fear of disaster and this desperate need to be 100% certain about things. This is the voice that's always screaming, "What if?"
And our third voice, well, it's not really a voice at all. It's the gut feeling. This signal is purely physical. It's not some story playing out in your head. It's that actual tension in your stomach or a tightness in your chest. This is your primal survival instinct just firing off a warning shot.
So, how do we sort through all these signals when they're actually happening? Well, we can use a simple tool, a 4-question checklist. Just think of this as your go-to guide for any time you're feeling unsure about which voice you should be trusting. The first question is probably the simplest one. How does it feel? Just take a second and tune into the emotion behind the message. Is it coming from a place of peace or a place of panic? And you know, the distinction is incredibly clear when you actually map it out. Intuition brings that calm, quiet clarity. The anxious thoughts, they're loud, they're urgent, they're demanding. And a gut feeling is pure physical tension, that knot in your stomach or chest. This feeling is your first and, honestly, your biggest clue. Let's move on to our second question, which is all about the pattern. Is this just a one-time message, or is it something that's kind of stuck on repeat, just refusing to leave you alone? And right here, we see a huge difference in behavior. Intuition is a one-time nudge. It delivers its message, and then it just fades. It trusts you to handle it. The anxious thought, on the other hand, is sticky. It loops, and it refuses to let go. Meanwhile, the gut feeling isn't even a mental loop. It's a constant physical feeling of unease that sticks around as long as the perceived threat does. Our third question digs a little deeper into the why. Like, what is the purpose of this signal? What is it trying to get you to do? The motivation behind the voice really does reveal everything. Just look at the motivations here. Intuition, it's trying to guide you with curiosity or maybe a gentle warning. The anxious thought tries to control you with fear and a demand for certainty. And the gut feeling, it has one goal, and one goal only, to keep you safe from what it thinks is immediate danger. All right, our final question is the ultimate test. What happens after you listen? The way you feel once you've acted on the message, well, that tells you everything you need to know about where it came from. The results really couldn't be more different. Following your intuition brings a genuine sense of peace or resolution. The issue just feels settled. But following an anxious thought, that only gives you a quick moment of relief before the anxiety comes roaring back, and usually it's even stronger. And acting on a gut feeling, that brings immediate physical relief, that feeling of being safe again. Okay, so that's the theory. But let's make it real. Let's take a simple, everyday thought and run it through our checklist to see exactly how this works in practice. Here's our message. Seems simple enough, right? Pretty good advice, but depending on how it's delivered, its source could be any of our 3 voices. So let's run it through the checklist. Okay, let's apply our logic here. If the thought just arrives calmly, like a simple, clear reminder, that's your intuition. If it's an urgent, looping command that makes you check the door 3, 4, 5 times out of anxiety, that's OCD-like. And if the thought appears because your stomach clenches as you walk past a dark alley on your way home, that's a gut feeling. See, the content is the same, but the context and the feeling, they're everything. So what's the key takeaway here? Well, the goal was never to silence these voices.
It's to become a better listener, to finally be able to pick out the helpful signal from all the distracting noise. If you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. The specific words of a thought are way less important than its quality. The emotional tone, the pattern, the motivation, and the feeling you have afterward, that's the real data. That's where you're going to find the truth. So as you go about your week, just try it. Pay attention to your internal signals. Ask yourself, which voice is speaking the loudest in my life? And now that you know how to tell them apart, what is it really trying to tell you?